Hey, Richard Bryce here, Tennis Hacker. In this video, I want to show you how to do something that's probably going to be a lot more beneficial for your game than spending a lot of time working on shadow swings. Now, it's not that shadow swings aren't any good. They are. They can be fantastic tools for helping to groove your technique. The problem is they don't address most lower level players' problems, because when you watch lower level players play, and by lower level I mean below 5.0, so including 4.0 and 4.5 players, the issue normally comes before the swing itself. Because what you've got to understand is that tennis strokes are sequences of events. It happens in a cycle. Firstly, you're watching your opponent prepare for their shot so that you can start to anticipate where the ball's going to go. Then you're going to be timing your split step so that you can react and move more quickly. Now you've got to read the ball really quickly so that you can do your unit turn in the correct direction and use the appropriate footwork patterns. Then it's all about your movement to the ball, setting up in the right position so you've got the correct spacing and being balanced, ready to hit your shot. And when people send me footage and they want to know what's wrong with a technique, 90 to 95% of the time, it was all that other stuff that was the problem, not the technique itself. Because you've got to appreciate that, you know, if you're set up really close to the ball and you're really late on it, there's now no correct technique that you can use from this position. The way that you sort your technique out is the other stuff. So what I want to show you how to do, instead of doing shadow swings, is something that I believe will be more beneficial for you. We're going to be working on shadow preparation. You can practice them at home, you can practice them anywhere, but it's going to make a huge difference in your game. At the end, I also want to talk about something else that you can do in addition to the shadow preparation, which is really going to help you speed up the improvements in your game. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, it'd be fantastic if you could give me a thumbs up. And also, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel, because it helps me within the algorithm to get more videos like this shown to you to help you with your game. So the key to preparation and to hitting high-level strokes is to be set up in the right position and be as balanced as possible. And the reason that I said as possible is because you can't always make things perfect. But what we're going to do within our shadow preparation practice is work on a few different variations on the forehand and on the backhand to help cover our bases so that we can deal with balls that are in different positions. And it's about programming the movements in, making them habitual within your body so that then when your brain recognizes where the ball's going, you just do it automatically. For all of them, it's going to start with a good quality split step where we've got a nice wide stable base, because we need a wide stable base so that we can push off and move in either direction. If our feet are closer together, it slows down how quickly we can move. We also want to be landing on the balls of our feet with the knees a little bit bent, because now we can then use the elastic in our muscles to push off quickly. So everything's going to start from that. Now what we've got, and we'll do the forehand first, we've got 3 different variations of this. Each of them is going to have the unit turn. So as soon as you land, you're going to turn your upper body as a unit, however you would normally do it. We're not going to focus on the specifics of what happens here. The key is to land and then make the body move immediately. While at the same time you do that, there's also going to be a pivot step with the foot. Because as part of the unit turn, we need our upper body turned so that then we can hit into the ball, and we need our pelvis turned, because for every shot we drive through the backside, the back or the outside leg to initiate the forward swing. So we need those 2 pieces, but we're going to practice in 3 different ways. The first one, we're just going to practice turning on the spot. So I'm going to land and turn on the spot. Notice I dropped down when I did that. I didn't do this. I stayed nice and low, because the lower you can stay throughout your strokes, generally the better. So I'm just doing my unit turn and pivoting this leg, and I'm landing basically with my foot flat on the floor, because sometimes we're going to have to do this and just hit a ground stroke from an open stance, or we might need to land in this position and then transition in for a neutral stance. So the first one, you're going to practice a pivot step like that. The second one, you're going to practice a pivot step that goes outwards, and this time you land on your heel. The reason we need to do that is so that we can shuffle for balls that are a little bit closer to us, or sorry, a little bit further away, but not wide balls. So landing, and then as soon as I land, stepping out just a little bit and getting the unit turn. The third variation is going to be a drop step where the foot comes back underneath us. Now this one feels a little bit weird at first, but I've got to bring the ball of the foot underneath this hip, and now I'm landing on the ball, not the heel. So I'm bringing it to there, and the angle of my shin is like that, because this is the one that we're going to use to push out to the wide balls. So the first point of practice is to just work on those 3 steps. So practice repetitions, just doing the unit turn and the pivot step. Then the second variation, stepping out. And then the third variation, doing the drop step. Then once you've got that, then you can complete the rest of the stroke or the rest of the preparation. So for variation 1, that is the preparation. We're just in this balance position, so you can step in and hit your neutral stance if you want, or you can hit some variation of an open stance. So that one is just the first part. For the next one, you're going to practice the shuffle. So how I did that, landed, I'm pushing off this leg, landing on the heel, and then staying nice and low so that now I can drive off this outside leg. Like that. And then the third variation, I'll move over for this one, is I'm dropping it under and pushing across and doing a cross step. So I drop it under, cross step across my body, and then land in this balanced position. And again, the thing that we're really focusing on is the movement and landing in this balanced position. And I want to point out just one more time, I'm staying low. I'm not doing this. I'm staying low because I want to be fast to the ball. And that's how I can accelerate. And obviously once you get there, feel free, if you want, to practice your stroke in whatever format you want. But the bit that I'm concerned with is programming these first steps into your body so that it becomes an automated habit. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing on the backhand. So practice the 3 variations of the pivot step. So I'm a one-hander, so this is what my single-hander looks like. If you're a two-hander, it's going to look a little bit different, but you just rep it out and practice this preparation. Now this is also going to help you practice transitioning between your grips, because that's something that also needs to be an automated process. We're then going to practice stepping out, and what I want to point out here is how flexible you are is going to make a huge difference for your split step, and how strong you are for the split step and for these pivot steps. But we're practicing stepping out, this time landing just on the heel, and then we're practicing the drop step, dropping the foot underneath, ball of the foot under the hip, shin angle, like so. And then once you're comfortable with those, obviously we've got this one down that you can step in for your neutral or your closed stance. So you can practice a few of those and then practice the shuffle, and then practice the crossover step. And again, you're just going to program them in. And just so you know, in terms of how our brains and our bodies operate, you normally need to get maybe 1,000, maybe a couple of thousand repetitions before it's going to be a habit. And that might sound scary, but this is what learning involves. But if you get the reps doing this stuff every day, what you'll find is you'll just end up on court, the ball will arrive and you'll just be set up, you'll be balanced, and you're in a better position. But before I close out the video, there's something else that's really important about the preparation that we need to talk about. Now, if you remember earlier, we talked about the cycle of events. First, you've got to watch your opponent looking for cues so you can try and anticipate. Second, you've got to land from the split step, timing it so that you can react quickly. And then next, you need to be able to read where the ball's going before you can use the appropriate unit turn and footwork. And the reality is, the thing that holds so many adult and juniors players back is lack of ability to read where the ball's going quickly enough. That's why so many people, and you might be like this yourself, you know you need to prepare early, but you're watching the ball court and you're like, you wait until the last second to prepare. And that's because your visual system isn't capable of reading where the ball's going quickly enough. The good news though is that that's something you can actually change with training. Your visual system is very trainable. So what I've done to help you with that part of it is I've created a free tennis vision starter program to show you a few simple drills that's going to help with your visual system. I'll place a link down there in the description, and I'll place a link up there so you can get hold of that free program if you're interested. And if you work on that free program and you work on programming these preparations, so doing these preparation shadow drills, it is going to make a massive difference to your strokes. And what you'll find after a couple of weeks, a month, maybe a couple of months, is that some of the things, the problems that you were trying to fix initially on your stroke, you've already resolved those problems because the preparation was the real issue. So I hope you have found this video helpful. If you have, it'd be awesome if you could give me that thumbs up. And again, if you're not a subscriber, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel as well. If you've got questions about what we've talked about today, ask them down below. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. And if you are interested in learning more about this vision training stuff, because it can be massive for your game, check out this video here. I think you'll find it interesting.